When it comes to fashions that fit the way you live today, Profit's Best Buys give you more. More style, more quality, more selection, and great prices. Dress up your fall wardrobe with a classic-style dress pump from Proxy. Best Buy priced at Profits at just $54.90 every day. It's designed of kid skin leather with sleek lines and a perfectly proportioned mid-heel. Available in black, red, navy, and winter white. So for real value, just look for the blue and white Best Buy signs. Every day at Profits.
The Heartland series on Channel 10 has been brought to you by Profits.
Continuing my road trip across Tennessee brings me to the Foothills Mall located in Maryville, Tennessee, a suburb of Knoxville. I took a look at the now demolished Knoxville Center and the thriving Westtown Mall in previous trips to the Knoxville area, and I've made videos on them. If you'd like to check them out, you can check down in the description box below, or just check out the Urbex playlist. You'll find them there. So do I think the Foothills Mall is a dead mall? Well, yes and no. It's kind of in a weird state of limbo because it's not really dead, but it's not thriving. It's just sort of struggling here. I visited in the middle of a Sunday and we're out in the suburbs of Knoxville, so it should have been nice and busy, and it just wasn't. There are people walking around and shopping. Actually, I didn't see a whole lot of people actually shopping, mostly people just walking around. And that's mainly due to just the economic state of the United States, where people can barely afford to provide food and transportation for themselves, let alone go shopping. Now, I don't like to talk about politics here on this channel, but every now and then you have to dip your toes in them because it relates to the economic state of the United States and the current status and future of malls. Malls and retail in general throughout the United States have been in a downward spiral ever since the early 2000s, but when COVID-19 hit, things went out of control. Malls were closing left and right, and retail stores were struggling. Now, once the majority of everyone realized that COVID-19 was stupid and we moved on from that, things slowed down quite a bit, but we're still in a downward spiral. So I do believe that malls that are currently classified as a thriving mall are going to continue to do okay. However, those that are struggling in the least little bit are going to start seeing a rapid decline, and we're just going to start losing one mall after another. This is all due to the rampant inflation that is completely destroying this country. And I know, news media and the government keep saying how inflation is down and it's getting lower, and I'm just like, yada, yada, yada. I'm still paying way too much for my groceries. My wages aren't keeping up, etc., etc. You know the drill. Anyways, inflation hasn't gone down, it's just stopped going up. So there is still this big gap between the cost of things and the actual wages that you're bringing home on a typical job. And this is why we're seeing people having multiple jobs, their partners are having multiple jobs, they can't afford to pay their rent. In fact, people are living out of their cars more often than not nowadays, and it's really, really sad. So this is all playing a role into why retail and malls are just disappearing. So if you want to go experience your local mall that might be struggling a little bit right now, I would say do it now rather than later. The only way, unfortunately, to save the malls that we have left is for companies to start paying their workers more. In fact, they need to pay a living wage, and yes, they'll have to take less profits, but it will benefit everyone in the long run, including themselves, because if their employees don't have money, they can't turn back around and buy the company's product. And so that is the fundamental issue as to why everything in the United States is failing, including malls, because if we don't get wages up and prices down, I believe every single mall in the United States is going to fail at some point. Maybe I should just do a video on the collapse of retail throughout the United States. If you'd like to see a video like that, then leave a comment down below and give this video a thumbs up. Since many of you are here to learn about the history of this mall, I think we should probably get into that right now. The Foothills Mall would begin in 1982 when Profits, a Maryville-based department store chain, would relocate its downtown store to the new Foothills Mall site in preparation for the mall's grand opening. The mall would be developed by CBL and Associates and open in 1983. Its original anchor stores would include Profits, Miller's, JCPenney, and Sears. The Miller's department store would go through several transitions, becoming Hess, then Dillard's, before being replaced by a Belk, which would replace both the Profits and the Dillard's locations, consolidating the anchor space. At this time, the Foothills Mall was the only enclosed regional mall in the area, serving Blount County and parts of the Knoxville metro area. In 2006, the mall would undergo major renovations to modernize its appearance and improve the customer experience. The next addition to the mall wouldn't come until 2011, when the former Dillard's anchor location would be demolished for a new Carmike Cinemas, now AMC. By 2011, the mall was beginning to struggle just a little bit, and the theater was added in hopes of increasing foot traffic to the mall. 2016 would see the mall change ownership from its original owner of CBL and Associates to the now Time Equities Inc., which was a New York-based investment group. This ownership change was part of a $53.5 million deal that would also include the College Square Mall in Morristown. Now, of course, a good mall video wouldn't be complete without talking about the closure of Sears, because it would close in 2019 and the building would be soon demolished to make room for new development. Then, in June of 2020, more bad news would come to the mall, as JCPenney would announce it would be closing its store located at the Foothills Mall. The store would close permanently in October of 2020, ending its decades-long presence at the Foothills Mall. Between 2021 and 2023, redevelopment plans would begin to take shape, as the former JCPenney site would be slated for redevelopment, and plans would begin for a BJ's Wholesale Club. Then, in 2025, the BJ's Wholesale Club would open its doors, making it the first location in Tennessee, and it would include a gas station and auto center. Also, a new Publix supermarket would open on the site of the former Sears. As of the making of this video, the current major anchor tenants would include Belk, AMC Theaters, TJ Maxx, Publix, and the BJ's Wholesale Club. With the recent redevelopments at the Foothills Mall, hopefully it can make a comeback, but I'm kind of skeptical with the economic status of the United States. Leave a comment down below and let me know your thoughts on this mall. Will it survive, or is it just destined and doomed to fail? Well, that's going to do it here from the Foothills Mall in Maryville, Tennessee. If you'd like to catch up on all the other videos from this trip across Tennessee, you'll find them in the Urbex or Traveling Man playlists. Also, to see all of the member-exclusive videos from this trip, I highly recommend that you check out my YouTube channel memberships or my Patreon memberships. You can find links on screen and in the description box below. And to all of my current members, a big thank you for all of your support, because without you, these videos wouldn't be possible. On the next video, I'll be checking out some awesome retail as I head over to Cleveland, Tennessee. But for this video, that's going to do it, and I will see you in the next one.